better shut off the music if I'm actually streaming. Let me give it a second. I tried like 3 times. It wasn't working. See if it is now. Let me do the little trekkaroo. Oh, what do we got here? Let's see. Oh, isn't that special? They let me stream again. Oh, thank you, YouTube. I feel so blessed. I mean, I don't know what I was going to do without being able to stream on YouTube. Oh, I am so grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you to the bottom of your communist feet that stamp my freedoms. God knows how long this will last. Probably not long, you know. It's funny, even if you're like one of these shills, you know, more news or Jason Goodman or whatever, one of these things. You can talk about whatever you want. Jerry opens his mouth even close to something remotely controversial. There comes that communist boot stamping in my face. Yeah, whatever, you know. So I guess I gotta figure out, what can I even talk about, you know? Can I talk about anything on YouTube? Is it allowed? You know, I was trying to think of something to talk about, but you know, how about this? We'll just do a little experiment. I think that might be the easiest thing. Okay, here we go. All right, experiment. See if anybody gets it. Let's see. It's hard to put it so people can see. Okay, and then you get that. You know what I'm doing here? I mean, it's a simple, basic thing. Because you can talk about flat Earth all you want on YouTube. Believe it or not. Oh, they censor us. No, they don't. Aliens? Oh shit, they'll promote the shit out of you. You start talking about aliens. Yeah. Okay. If you've ever driven down the road, right, and you've seen a mountain, and you're off in the distance, right? The sun starts going down over that mountain, right? Shadow casts up, okay? Depending on the position, it could curve up. There are algebraic equations that can show you this. And, you know, the tough part is when people refuse to accept the, you know, they're simple equations. You know, in reality, I would use a, I'd use a multiple equation situation, one for the light and one for the electromagnetic field, you know, for that it's, you know, for the, you know, for what it is, you know, that way you get a 2-part equation that makes sense. But of course that's going to be denied because, you know, there'll be some excuse why math works. And, you know, listen, sometimes, you know, math is bullshit, you know. So, you know, I don't know. I think it's pretty simple to really understand. I don't know if people really get that. I don't know if there's a better way of showing it, you know. It's literally, all right. Okay, maybe it's better from coming from this other way, right? So you got a mountain here, right? You got a mountain, right? Behind there's a shadow, but that shadow spins around the other side and fades away. Okay, and you might think, you say, in theory, if you're driving up under that mountain where the shadow hits before it hits further back or fades all the way out, are you in a different time? Because time is based in the sun. In theory, there's also an equation you could put together for that. You know, it depends on whether or not you look at light as time. Because time is basically bullshit. You know, and, you know, although if we're going to live in this world, we live by the defined time. We can live outside of that time, but understand, you get enough people on the planet to believe the earth is flat, it will end up being flat. Simple as that. You know, don't take much. Just got to get enough people. You know, get enough people to believe it's round, it's going to be round. For the physics we're presented with, it works out best that it's round. I think that really should be the argument, whether it's flat or round. The argument should be, what works the best? Okay. Does flat Earth really work the best? You know, once we get trapped in a prison, then we cannot move any further. Those defined lines that we are bound to. In theory, you could say, well, these are God's lines and he binds us by these. But if we use our imagination, or we use whatever that you may say that stars are imaginary. I don't believe that. I believe they're propagated in a secondary field of electromagnetics. You know, like you have your dual proposition between static and dielectric, and we're just looking at two different fields. And sometimes looking at them from a middle field, they wouldn't be existent. And once we understand this, then we can actually travel. But maybe flat Earth is the best way. Now that I think about it, you know, I guess you could debate that flat Earth is the best beneficial way for our population, for the world. I mean, they're stupid people. We need to confine them. Right? Or is that just being like how the Masons are, you know, moving forward everything? To combine or to compound everything into, you know, one control. Can't leave it up to exploratory minds to figure these things out. We need to encapsulate them, right? People are too stupid. Let's put a dome over them. You need to put a cage on them. You know, in theory, maybe they're not wrong. Maybe people are so stupid we need to put a dome on them. You know? Designed just like a little cap, right? Can't say what kind of cap. Get kicked off here if I say what kind of cap. So, yeah. And people get pissed at me over this whole this flat Earth shit. But come on. I mean, you don't get that? How do you not get? Okay? Watch the shadow. Over and under. Versus you're having a little double shadow. There's a big difference. Big difference. Big difference of how the shadow works. Big difference. You know? Math will figure that out. I don't know. Maybe somebody has an equation that proves that's wrong. And you know what? I'm always open to hearing it and listening. But if the math doesn't come out right, you know, I'm going to say something. You know? I'd like to see somebody's mathematical equation on how, you know, a shadow exists on a curve. You know? It's going to cast, you know, versus it's slow pushing down. I mean, you know, you wouldn't see these long shadows. You would see quick shadow, quick. You know, literally, you know, sun going down would be almost an instant thing. What happened? You know, it wouldn't have that time when the rays bent around the different parts of that, you know, ionosphere, making a, you know, colorful sunset. Sunsets would disappear. You know, I don't think they would totally disappear. I just think there would be, I don't know, smaller, shorter ones, because that's what's going to happen. I mean, I don't understand why flat Earth people just refuse the math. It doesn't make sense to me. But then again, I'm not against refusing math, because math confines our brains into this little nugget of stupidity. We don't need math necessarily. We only need math if we're going to define ourselves to live in the confines of this world. So if you're living in flat Earth, you really, you know, in theory, you kind of need it to know where you're confined in, right? You know, you can't go that far, you can't go there, you're strapped right here. So this is all the dimensions that you live in. You might actually not want to know math because you don't want to know your own imprisonment. You might want to avoid the math. But in theory, why even think about time? Why even think about flat Earth? Why would somebody want to be trapped? You know, I would like to think, you know, it was always my dream to discover time travel. All right. Now, how do we time travel? That's a big question. Do you need time to travel within time? Or is the gate that blocks people from time traveling time itself? Then if you did travel back in time, how would you get back to the time that you want to get back to if you're using equations based on time not existing? It could be very tricky. So the existential level needed to not be bound by their rules, I think entails us to all come together and believe that there's no cap out there on our existence. That we can explore more, that we can go further, that we can do whatever our mind feels. Not in the way where I'm talking the satanic, do what they wilt, crawly way, but, you know, the ability to freely daydream about learning things that have never been known, or discovering things that will benefit mankind. I think the biggest problem with discovering things that will benefit mankind is in this world, they never let that happen. Anything good, they turn to shit. You know, we know free electricity has been around for over 100 years. Not over 100 years, literally over hundreds of thousands of years. And, you know, people could disagree with me on this or not, but I've really looked at it, and I've looked at the patterns of what's going on this earth. And I believe, you know, there's been many ages. And I think a lot of people like to think that this has been the most advanced ages ever. And to be honest with you, I'm not sold. Because, you know, take for instance, you look at like an Indian culture, Native American culture. And they lived for over like 1,000 years peacefully. All right? Now you could say, well, they were in, you know, leather pants and leather shirts and didn't have cars, and, you know, so they weren't very civilized. Okay. And I understand that. But they were happy. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. But if it lasted that long, it seemed to have worked. And you look at their old traditions, they are all very kind. I mean, it seemed to make sense. Now you look at ancient times, where it seemed like these people, well, let's go back pre-Pharaoh, early Pharaoh, and look at those times, where they were almost like Native Americans in the sense of their dress and their culture, but may have had more ancient technology. Okay. So now you mix advanced technology with, I guess, simpler living. That can combine for some interesting lifestyle, where people are at peace and have the technology to, I don't know, build great things. But my guess is somewhere that went wrong. You know, if we see there's a reason why they kind of plugged up the pyramids. You know, was it an evil person to, oh, we can't let this out, it'll be too good for mankind? Or is it somebody plugging it up? This is too dangerous, it's caused problems, look what happened, let's not do it again. There's the question. It is, you know, technology, it's been there before. It's been great before. But is it that pinnacle that takes us into that dive, that pinnacle that strangles us? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what it does to us. I know it's dangerous, though. And I see we're going to a pinnacle again. But I think this pinnacle is something a little different. It trapped us in a digital age, and I think that's the most dangerous, and why it hasn't lasted long. You know, we grew fast over the last, let's call it 1,000 years. You know, last 500 years we grew by leaps and bounds. You know, it's been a fast development, and I'm not against aliens or any of the alien theories, but I don't believe we needed aliens for any of this. Just to be honest with you, there is nothing, high technology or not, that we needed aliens before. Even the pyramids, we didn't need them. It's just that people don't understand the science. You know, we didn't need 1,000 people to move one block. We didn't need more than a couple people to do it. It's the technology, it's the understanding of ancient civilizations that I think knocks people back from true understanding. So, as much as I'm okay with believing in aliens and this and that, we didn't really need them to do anything that this earth has ever done. So, you know, that kind of, you know, kills it. Along with the fact that they always promote aliens, you know, they're pushing it. We've seen that throughout history. I mean, that's basically what NASA was invented for, is to get people to believe things so they can control them. You get people trapped in their, you know, somebody else's belief system, and they no longer become themselves. They're somebody else. They're a slave to that train of thought. And I think we all pray victim to this from time to time. Who doesn't? You know, who doesn't conform to what other people in a group do from time to time? It happens all the time. It's very easy to fall victim to that. And that's really all NASA is getting people to believe in some straight up bullshit. You know, it doesn't mean that every mathematician throughout the last 400 years is wrong dimensionally. Actually, it's longer than that. You know, they've known that from ancient ages. You know, like I said, I'd like to think a lot to do with the fact that, you know, and there's been a lot of theories on that. You get enough people to believe something, you believe it into existence. You know. So, and you know, you can look at it in two different ways. So the people that believe flat Earth really actually live on a flat Earth, and you know, the people that don't actually don't. Although, you know, controlling, and that's kind of how they work with mind control. Controlling, or the majority belief is what takes control. You know, and becomes truth. That's the biggest problem, and that's a problem we face. I mean, think about it. When we look at some of the things we look at, and I gotta be careful because, you know, YouTube don't like when I talk about these subjects, but when we look at certain events, the majority of people believe they're legitimate and real. Now, there's a minority of us that know for a fact they're not, that they're fake. So, you know, what is truth? In reality, our version isn't true because the majority actually believe otherwise. Even though we know, because of facts, something different, still doesn't make it true because we don't own the world. The majority seems to own it. And that's why we have to, I don't know, I gotta be careful on this subject because they don't like when I talk about this subject. You know, I wish I could talk about that subject. I wish, because things might change or something may happen soon where you're gonna see certain subjects gone after like you've never seen them in your entire life gone after. Of course, you won't see it on YouTube. They'll be on BitChute. But, you know, hopefully it doesn't get to that. Because I really don't want to deal with that. As much as it needs to be dealt with. I really don't want to, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You know? Someone explained flat earth to me as a coin. Flat on both sides, but still round. Instead of the earth as a ball shape. What? Wait, I gotta read that one again. Someone explained flat earth to me as a coin. Okay, well, let's get this. Let's get a coin. Let me see. My hair, here's a penny right here. Alright. Flat on both sides, but still round. Okay, well, that's still flat earth. Yeah, that's what they believe. You know, they believe it's just like this big round disc. So, yeah, that's what they believe. Think of a dime. Well, there's no difference. A dime is still flat. But in reality, if you want to know what the truth of what the world is, it's a gyroscope. And it's, you know, and why do you think we have precession and everything else? Because, you know, in theory, that's basically what it is. You know, if you're going to spin something and balance it in space, what do you use? You use a gyroscope, right? So, you know, and a true gyroscope works on, you know, a static electric or, you know, a magnetic electric. You know, so that's basically what it is. You know, and we have to question some of this pole movement shift versus, you know, just precession, you know, theoretically precession of the gyroscope itself shifting. And because, you know, every few years they come out, magnetic north is going to Siberia 500 miles per day and all this crazy shit all the time. And then every year it really just doesn't, just wobbles back and forth. I think it's 14%. It moves back and forth. And that's usually what happens. So, I mean, literally year from year, it can go, and it's going to do that because it always has done that. But instead of people looking up that, you know, this cycle happens, they start freaking out on whatever they hear on YouTube. And the last thing you really want to do is freak out over anything you hear on YouTube. Because anything on YouTube is bullshit. Most of the time. To be honest with you, it's bullshit. You know? I'm not saying I'm great or anything. I'm just saying, you know, they've been suppressing me for how many years? I mean, literally. You know, I mean, I get on Facebook and I'm there usually for a day or two, and they'll pull up a post I made years ago and then slap me with into Facebook jail. And I got my stuff like locked down. It's the most ridiculous thing. I've gone through this for a long time. So, and I've seen how it really works with a lot of this censorship stuff. And all these idiots out there that talk about censorship really have no concept of what it's about. Because it goes beyond just, you know, censoring things here and there and whatnot. It's very complicated in the real world. Very complicated. It's a delicate dance. And dangerous. You know, like I've always said, you know, anything ever happens to me, I've given those names of the people that would be responsible out there. Yeah. So, you know, hopefully nothing ever happens to me, but, you know, I think, you know, these people are racist, to be honest with you. I think these people that are doing all this stuff are racist. If you think about it, you know, they killed Bill Cooper, right? He had an artificial leg, right? I got 2 artificial legs. The people they target seem to be, you know, amputees. Why do they hate amputees so much? I don't know. I think they just hate disabled people. To be honest with you, I think they're racist communists that don't like, you know, they're like supremacists. They think they're superior. So God forbid there's somebody that challenges them that may be disabled. You know, I think that's also why you don't see many African Americans in the truth community, because I'm sure they've probably been hit so many times that they never get a chance to get started. That's my guess. Because, you know, all their behavior shows that they are kind of racist. You know, that's what it is, you know. And if you even go back into time, you know, Bill Cooper said it. He said, these people are racist. This British Israelism is tied to them, and they are racist. You know? So that's a big portion of it, you know? But I think that more than, you know, kind of, you know, bothers them is the fact that, you know, they try to proclaim, you know, that's the whole eugenics program, is that, you know, they're superior, smarter, faster, better. So, you know, somebody with a disability better be under their mind control, better be under their control because they're inferior. And I do believe that's what they really believe. So that's why I believe they do give me a lot of trouble. God forbid somebody challenges their authority or questions things and actually sees through their stuff that's not one of their own people. I think that bothers them. I think that bothers a lot of people out there, you know. But it's always been my feeling that I think a lot of things in this world kind of even out. You know, that, you know, God is not going to always, in some cases, you know, it happens. I think in most cases, God makes sure that, you know, you take away one thing, you give somebody else some, you know, something better. You know, now, you know, I lost something, so, you know, I've also been given gifts to see through a lot of things that other people haven't. And I think that's the adaptability, not so much, you know, as a God's gift. It's adaptability that might be that God's gift. You know, I've had to adapt to my surroundings in a different way. You know, when you look at things from a different point of view your entire life, you start to notice things. You know, and when you have to watch from the sidelines, you're going to see a lot of stuff. You're going to see mistakes. Especially if you become good at it. You're going to see mistakes. And I think I've seen a lot of mistakes. I've seen a lot of scary shit. There's a lot of scary shit. You know? I think they would want to get rid of. Yeah, I think they are getting rid of the disabled ones. Listen, I'm getting reports constantly all over the country that they are going after disability rights. They're going after all kinds of people. And it's a tough conversation because you don't want to piss them off yet. But I've literally planned on, if I have to, just to make a protest, going to the governor's office, literally taking my legs off and screaming at the top of my, or not screaming, or just making an intelligent conversation, you know, till the news and they arrest me, so that there's some press and they have to face the issue. And hopefully take down some of these political people while you're at it, you know. I'd love to get into a court over a political issue. Then you can bring in, you know, some other, you know, event things and different things like that, and then it can hurt them real bad. So, yeah, I mean, what they're doing is horrible. But this was always said. They, you know, look at the, you know, the Nazis went after the disabled people first. You know, they go after the people they perceive to be weak. And you got to understand the way they put the position. They put this, you know, disabled people and other people, you know, in a position. You know, especially if they're, you know, people that are dependent. You know, you got, you know, people that are stuck in wheelchairs and stuff like that, or housebound and really bad. They stick these people in such a position that, God forbid, they say anything that they will, they're just scared. And that's a horrible position to put these people in. Not only that, is what the government is doing right now is they're playing the odds. What they're doing is they're screwing a whole bunch of people. They know majority of them, or some of them, they play the percentages. You know, it's just like this. All right, you screw 10,000 people. Now 8,000 fight back. Okay, so okay, you got here. But what about that 2,000? They got away with screwing 2,000 people. If those 2,000 people don't fight back, or 1,000 people don't fight back, don't matter what it is. Literally, what's going on are systems where the politicians, both sides, are targeting disabled people and playing the math. So yeah, they are. and get rid of, well, yeah, I mean, what's getting rid of them? You put, in theory, you put them to the point of where they have to go out and, almost kill somebody or something to eat. You're putting them into a point where then they're going to end up getting killed by the police. And, yeah, that's a way of getting rid of them. This is really just truly awful what's going on, but it's happening all over the country. So, yeah, look what they're doing. The full term, the whole thing about the full term abortions, like the West Virginia governor said, it's going along with Cuomo, where they're taking the baby out of the womb, right? Baby's born, put it on the table. If the baby's disabled, Virginia, New York, I think another state is adding it, I'm not sure which one it was, Oklahoma maybe, they can kill it. They can literally murder it, because let me tell you something, it is not abortion. Once that baby is born, then it's not abortion. And that's murder. Straight up murder, right? How is a court not convicting these people? This is murder. But it's all based on the fact that if they're disabled, it's okay. So, yeah, they are getting rid of disabled people. When you can legally murder disabled people, that is getting rid of disabled people, right? The disabled people are in a small segment of the population anyways, okay? Now you just abort every disabled person and every child with Down syndrome. That gets a little smaller and smaller. That's getting rid of them. They do things over time. They don't need to just do it right away. Boom, boom, boom. They know that going house to house, disabled person just shooting them in the head is not going to work. They could take years. They also know that the lifespan of somebody that's disabled is a lot shorter than that of, people that would be considered normal. All right? So, yeah, it's not going to take them long to exterminate disabled people. I think that's what really disturbs me. I don't believe in abortion or murder. Yeah, well, that's the same thing. Here's a tough position. I've always took the position as a woman should have the right to choose. But then I've really tangled with this whole 9-month, full-term abortion. It's just, to me, that takes it way too long. What it does is it tells me that, hey, well, Jerry, you're disabled, so we probably would have killed you if you lived in New York or Virginia. Well, what? So that invalidates my entire life. No, you can't do that. Yeah, and I understand the complications. It's not easy raising a child that's disabled or this and that. But why don't we find healthier things or healthier ways to create our environment? In other words, vaccines can cause disabilities. Even smoking, I'm sure, all these different problems, all right? But they promote everything from alcohol to big pharma to vaccines. If they want to cut down on the amount of disabled people in this world, why don't they promote eating dandelions? And what I'm not, joking. Dandelions is a very healthy thing to eat. There's a good article I read earlier today. Maybe I'll include it in the notes here or something. And promoting health, so these things don't happen. Well, stop experimenting on people. There's a good one. Stop poisoning our DNA. That's another good one. To be honest with you, you create or do the right thing in society, you're not going to have stupidity. You're causing stupidity to try and eliminate people, and in reality, education and healthy living and promoting that is what's going to create a healthy society. But they don't do that. I could show you, but I'll get kicked off here. But all you have to do is, you Google some random things and you see how fast a half-naked woman comes up in the search results. Just hit images. And, on words like woman or she ran down the street, you know, and you'll see naked underwear. Where's that coming from? When it's not necessary. Somebody's allowing the degradation of society. Somebody's promoting the degradation of society. And it's not me. You know? It's the people that say, let's stop that crap, that are censored. How does that make sense? I don't know. Secret police, secret courts, secret government, surveillance, harassment, torture, brutality, indoctrination, infinite, yeah. Yeah, very, very much. That sucks. Yeah. It really does suck. Strange world to live in, a world where murder will be allowed. That's the thing. I don't see how other people can't see that. All right. Okay, you have, let's say Jerry's a woman, right? Oh, I'm going to have a baby. Pop out the baby. Put it on the table, right? Hi, baby. Oh, wait, you look different. That's murder, right? I mean, where in this world is that not murder? How is that even able to be done legally? That's what blows my mind, is we've literally gotten to a point in our society where they legalized murder. That is murder. That's what really bothers me. It's just, to me, it's so obvious. All right, I mean, I understand. Okay, we can call something. That's almost rational. All right, the baby hasn't been born into this world. Okay, or flat Earth, whatever you want at this point. Really don't care. What they're doing is wrong on no matter what shape. But it comes out and it's on a table and it's alive. And then you kill it? I'm not saying it, the baby. I'm talking about the baby, the real live baby. You kill it? To me, that's amazing. You know, I understand, and you know, if it's fighting, you know, something's drastically, you know, where it's not going to make it, or something so. But this, they're saying with Down syndrome, the people that walk around, you know, and just want to hug everybody. No, you don't kill them just because. We need more love like that in this world. We need more love like that. I mean, think about how sick of a person you would have to be to execute a live baby. I mean, that to me, that's, I don't know. That's very questionable behavior. Who's joking? It's not questionable behavior. It's insane. There's no way that somebody should not be locked up. I mean, there needs to be trials for this. You know, I mean, anybody that would be willing to do that, think about the kind of mental problems somebody would have to look at a child born, just baby born, and go, oh, okay, I'm going to kill you. Think about how sick of a person that would be. To me, that's just insane. Completely insane. Was made okay, man. Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, that part I can't prove. You know, I mean, I wish a lot of these things I was able to prove. I mean, one thing we can, for without doubt, is that we, you know, I don't know what they're doing with the body parts, and I'm sure they're probably doing something shady with it. Don't doubt that at all. You know, I just don't know. That's something I don't know. But when they pass a law that makes them legal to do this, that's not a question anymore, you know? So that's kind of scary. It really is. But I guess it really doesn't matter what I'm saying, right? Because I'm disabled, so I don't count, right? I should have been killed for my opinions, right? I can't think straightly because, you know, how can someone that's disabled make sense? So I must be wrong, right? Oh my God, they blocked your show. They blocked your message because it had Planned Parenthood in there. that is messed up. Yeah. Works with child sex traffickers. I don't understand. Why did they block that message? I had to unhide it. What the heck? That's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. See, that's the thing. Is like I said, I can't prove that. Those type of things I have to chalk under a theory. I believe that that's going on, seeing shady stuff like that going on, but that's something I can't prove. So until there's video or something, there's evidence that proves it. And the tough thing is we keep on getting trapped in evidence from what we see on the internet, and things get a little crazy there. But we need to go out there and get actual physical evidence. That's why I fell into some of these events not being what they really were, because I've seen the physical evidence, and that's why I understand that. And even though I have all these other beliefs that agree with so many of these different theories, I'm careful to not say them as my belief until I can prove it. And this allows me, I think one reason why I have been so censored, I think this allows me to never be able to be called crazy. If I can prove something happened with physical evidence, then they can't really call you insane, right? And they would love to call people insane. And that's what this, a lot of these psyops are about. They want people, government wants everybody on Big Pharma. I just read that to Meta was something, I don't know, I didn't read enough of it to know whether or not it's true, although I've read a lot of stuff about the National Institute of Health to believe this is the agenda. That Medicare is actually encouraging Big Pharma. And I've looked through other people's disability problems and whatnot. I've seen this in real life. So to me, all the physical evidence I've seen is Medicare really does want people, these different groups, these different agencies tied to the government, want people hooked on Big Pharma. In most cases, they encourage it. Now, the question is, are they doing it for control? Are they doing it for Big Pharma to get rich, for their friends of the Big Pharma to get rich? I think it's a little bit of everything. This is my opinion. Their motives, I may not be able to prove, but I can prove they're doing it. I could prove they're incentivizing it, and you could prove that part. Motive, that would take more work to prove. But they're happy as long as people are high. Because if people are all high and, discombobulated, they can't fight, in the sense that they won't because they're screwed up, or they're overwhelmed, or the fact that they can use the excuse of that person being high, and that just itself. So who knows, Adrenochrome, this is the scary part. If you really think about it, I really thought about it once. I was like, would I ever drink blood? And I said, I wonder what it tastes like. And I was like, I've tasted it before. You ever have a cut like on your finger or something? And you're like, the thought of it is gross, but blood's actually kind of sweet. Now, I'm not saying I drink blood out there whatsoever. I don't. I'm just saying I understand. It's like there is something about blood. So, and then some of these companies out there that are actually going public, being traded, in the market, that offer these different types of blood packages, there's something there. The strange thing is, I don't know enough about what it actually does, but the oxidation that you drink, to the extent it does it, I don't know, but I believe it does. My cuts taste like metal and rust. I'm not sweet. Maybe that's what you work on in life. I don't know. Maybe you're out there wrenching on cars, and then you get a cut. Yeah, you're gonna eat a little metal, rust, and oil. But there is something with blood, and I just don't know what it is. And but that's what separates us from them, is the fact that We're not in these groups. We're not in these people. We're not sitting around in the woods chanting omens or whatever, casting spells, drinking, flasks of blood. We don't do that, And I'm not saying that they all do that either. I'm just, some of them, I'm sure, probably sit at, board tables or, little clubs, their little fancy dancy little, upscale clubs where they sit around the fire and drink cognac and smoke cigars, and that's where maybe they pass around a flask of blood at that moment. I don't know. I don't get invited to these upscale, snooty tooty, cognac and cigar, clubs. That's apparently they don't invite Jerry. Beware of the infanticide team. Yeah, it's iron. I mean, that's why it tastes like rust. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. We live in a screwed up world, and I don't know. I don't know what to do. Sometimes I'm not even sure if I want to fight, because I see so many people out there that just, man, it's almost like they deserve the control. And I hate to be like that. I hate to be like they deserve to be, controlled so bad. But it's like, you ever walk by so many people, and it's like these people really just don't care about this world or themselves. Are they just a big group of lost souls, swimming in a fishbowl year after year? The electronic infrastructure provided by the same company. Right, mainstream media hoaxes is reliable. Provided by the same company. Yeah. What was that? The big thing I said with the Levi's, man. That guy, I can't even talk about it. I did a video on BitChute, but I got into why, because you could talk about it because it's a political thing, why you should boycott Levi's. Now, I'm not going to get into the reasons, because those are the reasons that you should boycott Levi's, or the reasons that they would actually, YouTube would come after me or strike me for. So I'm not going to talk about that. But you can feel free to go to BitChute and learn what the reasons why, and they're good reasons, why, Levi's is not a cool company anymore. Sad. We've lost, we've lost a lot. And it's Levi's, the company that was another company that you can look at a brand image of, that was like strong brand image. It was like the marble image, the Marble Man. That's gone away. Sears and Roebuck, that's gone away. And then they're slowly inverting us into these, just, I don't know, these new versions of what a company is. And, it's not of people anymore. It's more of shipping and receiving and robotics. That's the company. Make it in China and then ship it around America when people buy it. And that's a problem, because, what are we making? The only thing we're making is customer service, and, selling crap. That's the only opportunity out there, is either sell crap, the internet, or, just being a middleman. It's kind of scary. That's wrong. Training clone. That is kind of interesting. Why do your messages keep on getting gun control? Just because you mentioned gun control, yeah. Man, they're targeting your messages there. I better leave, because, if I don't get off here, they're going to see too many warning lights come up on my little thing here. So I'm going to take off and do that. I can't play music on here or nothing. Check out BitChute, because that's where I can actually talk about things. Can't talk about shit here.